I've been invisible for 3 years. That's the truth of being a blood servant in Nathaniel Cross's world. You learn to move through his penthouse like a ghost, present but unnoticed, necessary but replaceable. My wrist feeds the King of the Pacific Northwest every Tuesday and Friday at precisely 9 p.m. My hands clean surfaces in rooms worth more than I'll earn in a lifetime. I fold Egyptian cotton sheets I'll never sleep on, and arrange flowers that cost more than my brother's weekly chemotherapy. The penthouse sprawls across the top 3 floors of Portland's most exclusive building, all floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a city I can barely afford to live in. Dark hardwood and marble, and shadows that seem to breathe with 5 centuries of secrets. Nathaniel Cross himself is a presence I've learned to predict. I hear his footsteps on the stairs, measured and impossibly silent, and know to be elsewhere. I catch glimpses of him through doorways, silver eyes that look through me, tailored suits that fit like a second skin, dark hair that suggests aristocracy from another era. He holds court in his study with beings who move too fast to be human and speak in languages that predate English. I clean up after them, empty wine glasses that smell of copper, collect forgotten documents marked with sigils I don't understand. I don't ask questions. That's not my job. My job is to disappear. The only constant in this carefully ordered existence is Tyler, my 15-year-old brother fighting acute lymphoblastic leukemia in a hospital bed across town. 23 years old with our mother's stubborn hope and none of my caution. He makes jokes that shouldn't be funny but somehow are, draws portraits of his nurses, and every evening when I leave Nathaniel's building, I ride the MAX train to Providence, Portland to sit with him until visiting hours end. Our apartment in Southeast, 1 bedroom with walls so thin I hear neighbors arguing at 3 a.m., is empty most nights. But it's ours. Well, rented, barely afforded with the blood money Nathaniel pays me. I work the double shifts when they're offered because I need every dollar. Because $87,000 in medical debt doesn't disappear on its own. Because Tyler's insurance covers 60% of treatments that cost more than some people's houses, and the remaining 40% might as well be a mountain made of broken glass I'm expected to climb barefoot. So I donate blood twice weekly, brew Nathaniel's Turkish coffee exactly how he prefers it, organize his collection of first edition books by chronological publication date within each author, and accept the clinical efficiency of being consumed by something that will outlive me by centuries. Tuesday night, the antique clock in the main hall chimes 11 p.m. as I lock the penthouse door behind me. October in Portland means rain that never quite stops, and through the building's glass facade, I watch water streak the windows like tears. I should have called for a ride share. Should have waited for Jacob the werewolf doorman to finish his rounds. But I'm tired, I'm broke, and the MAX station is only 4 blocks away. I've walked this route 100 times, always alone, always safe. Nathaniel's territory, after all. Tonight, that changes everything. Before we dive back into the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be sharing another exciting story tomorrow, and you definitely don't want to miss it. The last thing I remember before waking is Nathaniel's voice. Winter itself, cold and absolute and infinitely dangerous, asking, "Who did this to you?" Now I'm drowning in Egyptian cotton that smells like cedar and night-blooming jasmine, and every breath feels like knives in my left side. My right eye won't open fully, swollen shut beneath layers of professional bandaging. I definitely didn't apply myself. When I try to sit up, pain explodes along my ribs, and a hand, cool, impossibly gentle, presses against my shoulder. "Don't move." Nathaniel's voice, but different. softer than I've ever heard it. You have 2 fractured ribs, a mild concussion, and enough contusions to make standing inadvisable. I force my working eye open. I'm in a bedroom I've never seen before. Massive, decorated in shades of charcoal and deep burgundy, with blackout curtains that block every trace of morning light. Nathaniel sits in a chair beside the bed, still wearing last night's shirt but with sleeves rolled to his elbows, silver eyes fixed on me with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. "What?" My voice comes out raw, broken. "What happened?" "You tell me." He stands, moves to a side table, returns with a glass of water and 2 pills. "Start with their names." The alley comes back in fragments. Derek Chen's whiskey-soaked breath. The word whore spat like a curse. Fists and boots and pavement that tasted like copper. It doesn't matter, I'll heal. Cassidy. The use of my first name shocks me into silence. 3 years, and he's never once said it aloud. I found you unconscious in my elevator at 11:47 p.m., covered in blood, with defensive wounds suggesting you fought back against multiple attackers. Jacob called me in a panic because you crawled 3 blocks rather than go to a hospital. His jaw tightens incrementally. So I'll ask once more, and I need you to understand this isn't a request. Who did this to you? Something in his tone, not anger exactly, but something older and far more dangerous, breaks through my carefully maintained distance. I tell him everything. Derek Chen, his friends. The accusations about being a vampire whore. Derek's father leading some human supremacy group. How they wanted to send a message about humans who collaborate with the infestation. Nathaniel listens without interruption, without visible reaction. But I watch his hands curl slowly into fists, watch his eyes shift from silver to something darker, more crimson at the edges. When I finish, he's silent for a long moment. Then he pulls out his phone and makes a single call. "Marcus, my office, now. We have a situation." He ends the call, looks at me with an expression I can't decipher. "You should rest. This may take some time to resolve. Nathaniel, please don't. They're just stupid kids. It's not worth—" "Not worth what?" His voice drops to something lethal. "Not worth my time? My attention?" He leans forward, and for the first time in 3 years, I see the 500-year-old apex predator underneath the careful civility. "Cassidy, do you know what it means to harm a vampire king's blood servant?" I shake my head. "It's an act of war." I've been awake in Nathaniel Cross's private bedroom for 20 minutes, and I still can't process what he just said. "War?" My voice cracks. "Over me? I'm nobody. I donate blood twice a week and clean your penthouse. That doesn't make me worth starting a war over." Nathaniel's expression doesn't change, but something flickers behind those silver eyes. Disappointment, maybe, or something sadder. "Is that truly what you think? That you're nobody?" Before I can respond, a knock sounds at the door. Nathaniel calls permission to enter, and a man I've seen exactly twice in 3 years walks in. Marcus, Nathaniel's second in command. He's tall, dark-skinned, with close-cropped hair and eyes that assess everything like a battlefield. Those eyes land on me, take in the bandages and bruises, and his expression hardens into something glacial. "Show me," he says simply. Nathaniel pulls out his phone, shows Marcus something I can't see from this angle. The attack occurred approximately 11:15 p.m. in the alley behind Morrison Street. 3 assailants, primary aggressor identified as Derek Chen, age 22. His father is Robert Chen. Marcus goes very still. Robert Chen, the PHLF founder. The same. "Christ!" Marcus runs a hand over his face. This wasn't random. This was calculated. I watch this exchange feeling like I've fallen into a foreign film without subtitles. What's the PHLF? Both men look at me, and I catch something like guilt crossing Nathaniel's features. The Portland Human Liberation Front, he explains. An organization dedicated to ending what they call supernatural exploitation of humanity. They've been gaining traction for 6 months, targeting businesses that employ humans in supernatural establishments. He pauses. I should have warned you, should have anticipated they'd eventually target blood servants. How could you anticipate? Because it's my job to anticipate threats to those under my protection. His voice carries an edge of self-recrimination. You work for me. You've been in my home for 3 years. That makes you mine in the eyes of supernatural law, whether you knew it or not. Mine. The word shouldn't send warmth through my chest, but it does. Marcus clears his throat. What's the play? Nathaniel stands, begins pacing. The first time I've seen him move without perfect control. Convene the inner circle. I want Sophia and Jacob here within the hour. Pull everything we have on Robert Chen and the PHLF. Surveillance, financial records, membership lists. Everything. And Derek Chen? Find him, bring him to me, unharmed. Nathaniel's tone makes it clear this last word is non-negotiable. I want him to understand exactly what he's done, what his father's ideology has inspired. Midnight transforms Portland into something else entirely, a city where supernatural law supersedes human understanding, where predators move through shadows with purpose, and where a vampire king's command ripples outward like stones dropped in still water. I watch it happen from Nathaniel's study, wrapped in a borrowed robe that smells like him, ribs aching despite the painkillers. He insisted I witness this, said I deserved to see what my suffering had set in motion. Marcus coordinates from a laptop, his voice clinical as he dispatches teams across the city. Sophia, I need scrying on Robert Chen's location. Jacob, your pack should monitor the PHLF safe houses in Northwest. Victor, take your people to Derek Chen's last known address, apartment complex on Hawthorne. The efficiency is terrifying. Within 20 minutes, Marcus has a map of Portland covered in red pins. Every location connected to the Human Liberation Front. Every member's home. Every meeting place they thought was secret. They're not exactly covert, Sophia observes. She arrived 15 minutes ago. A woman in her 40s with silver-threaded black hair and eyes that seem to see through dimensions. Derek's phone location is active. He's at his apartment. Probably thinks he's safe. Nathaniel studies the map with predatory focus. How many members does the PHLF have currently? Active membership around 200, Marcus reports. But sympathizers number in the thousands. Robert Chen's been building this for years, waiting for the right catalyst. And my servant getting beaten half to death is that catalyst. Nathaniel's voice is ice. They wanted to provoke me, test if I'd retaliate, give them justification for broader violence against supernatural human cooperation. It's a trap, I say quietly. Everyone turns to look at me. They're hoping you'll kill Derek, make him a martyr, prove their point that vampires are monsters. Nathaniel's expression softens, fractionally, which is precisely why he'll live. But he will answer for what he's done. Marcus returns with Derek Chen, who's shepherded into the study by Jacob, the werewolf doorman I've known for 3 years, now revealed as something far more dangerous. Derek's bravado from the alley has evaporated. He's shaking, eyes wild, Confronted with the reality that supernatural beings aren't myths his father rants about, but actual predators who've hunted him through Portland like prey. Nathaniel doesn't stand, doesn't raise his voice, just sits behind his desk and gestures to the chair across from him. Sit. Derek sits because ancient authority in that tone makes disobedience impossible. Do you know why you're here? Nathaniel asks conversationally. Because Derek's voice breaks. Because of the girl. Her name is Cassidy. Use it. Because of Cassidy. Nathaniel steeples his fingers. Tell me what you know about her. She works for you, sells her blood. She's a collaborator. Try again, truthfully this time. Derek swallows hard. Under Nathaniel's unwavering stare, the truth spills out. I don't know anything about her. Dad said people like her are traitors, that they enable vampire control over humans. Would you like to know the truth? Nathaniel slides a folder across the desk. Cassidy is 23 years old. She graduated summa cum laude from Portland State with a degree in library science, but couldn't find work that paid enough to survive. Her 15-year-old brother has acute lymphoblastic leukemia. His treatment costs approximately $87,000 annually after insurance. She works 2 jobs, donating blood to me twice weekly and managing a coffee shop on Morrison Street to keep him alive. Derek opens the folder. I recognize the documents: Tyler's medical bills, our apartment lease, my student loan statements. Nathaniel had investigated me, knew everything. She's not a traitor, Nathaniel continues, voice deadly quiet. She's surviving in an economy designed to destroy people like her, and you beat her unconscious for the crime of refusing to let her brother die. Derek's hands tremble. I didn't know. Ignorance isn't innocence. Nathaniel stands finally, moves around the desk with liquid grace. Here's what happens next. You're going to call your father. You're going to tell him that if any member of the PHLF touches another human servant, any servant in Portland, I will dismantle his organization brick by brick. Legally, I have enough evidence of your group's illegal activities to bury him in federal charges. The only reason I haven't is because I'm giving him one chance to back down. He won't listen. Then his son will face consequences for assault. I have security footage, witnesses, and Cassidy's testimony. Your choice. Deliver my message, or spend the next 5 years in prison contemplating whether your father's ideology was worth it. Derek practically runs from the study. Marcus watches him go. Think it'll work? No, Nathaniel admits. But it had to be offered. He turns to me, still wrapped in his robe, still watching from the corner. How do you feel? Like I just watched you dismantle someone with words alone. I wanted to tear him apart. His voice drops. For touching you, for making you bleed. But killing him would make everything worse. So, you showed mercy. I showed strategy. He crosses to me, hands gentle as they check the bandage above my eye. Don't mistake calculation for mercy, Cassidy. I am capable of both. But for you, I would choose violence every time if it served your safety. The confession hangs between us. Dangerous, impossible, and undeniably real. 3 days after Derek Chen's interrogation, I'm attempting to return to normal when Nathaniel intercepts me in the hallway, blocking my path to the cleaning supply closet with immovable vampire stillness. What are you doing? His tone suggests he already knows and disapproves. My job. The study needs dusting, and you have that meeting with the Seattle delegation tomorrow. You have 2 fractured ribs, which are healing fine. Dr. Reyes said light activity is actually beneficial. Dr. Reyes works for me and will say whatever I tell her to say. Nathaniel's expression is implacable. You're not cleaning anything. Heat floods my face, embarrassment mixing with frustration. So, what am I supposed to do? Sit around your penthouse being useless while my brother's bills pile up. I can't afford to miss work, Nathaniel. My next payment is due in 2 weeks. Something shifts in his expression. Come with me. He leads me to his private office, produces a folder from his desk. Inside is a contract, official, legally dense with my name at the top. Personal assistant to Nathaniel Cross reads the title. The salary line makes my breath catch. Triple what I've been making. Full health benefits, dental, vision, and a clause that reads, Employer covers all medical expenses for employee's immediate family. I don't understand. You've been managing my correspondence for 6 months, Nathaniel says. Organizing my library, coordinating my schedule, handling details I don't have time for. That's not housekeeping. That's executive assistance. This contract reflects what you actually do, with compensation to match. This is charity. This is what you've earned. His voice hardens. You give me your blood twice weekly, something infinitely valuable to my kind. You maintain my home with meticulous care. You've never gossiped, never betrayed confidences, never asked for anything beyond your basic wage. For 3 years, you've been drastically underpaid. I'm correcting that error. I stare at the numbers. With this salary, Tyler's bills become manageable. I could breathe. Actually save money. Maybe even finish my library science degree. There's a signing bonus, Nathaniel adds carefully. Included in your first paycheck. It should cover any outstanding financial concerns. How much? Enough. The way he says it, casual but final, tells me arguing is pointless. Why are you doing this? Because someone beat you half to death in my territory, and I failed to protect you. Because you've spent 3 years invisible in my home, and I should have seen you sooner. He steps closer. Because you deserve security, Cassidy. You deserve to stop drowning. My throat tightens. I can't accept charity. It's not charity, it's justice. You've given me 3 years of service I never properly compensated. Consider this back pay with interest. The first paycheck arrives 2 days later. The signing bonus is exactly $87,000, the precise amount of Tyler's medical debt. I find Nathaniel in his study that evening working through correspondence. He looks up when I enter, something almost vulnerable crossing his features. You paid off Tyler's bills. Not a question. I did. That's not back pay. That's... I can't finish. Can't articulate what it means to suddenly be free of the weight that's crushed me for 2 years. Nathaniel sets down his pen. When I investigated you 3 years ago, before hiring you, I learned everything. Your mother's death, the debt collectors, how you eat ramen most nights to afford Tyler's copays. I could have helped then. I chose not to, told myself it wasn't my concern, that maintaining distance was appropriate. His jaw tightens. I was wrong. And you paid the price for my cowardice by getting attacked in my territory, while financially desperate enough that you couldn't even go to a hospital. That's not your fault. It is entirely my fault. He stands, closes the distance between us. You work for me. You bleed for me. That makes your well-being my responsibility. I failed you. This is me trying to make amends. We stand too close, his presence overwhelming in the dim study. I should step back. Maintain the professional distance we've preserved for 3 years. Instead, I hear myself whisper, "Thank you." Don't thank me yet. There's something else you need to know. He pulls out his phone, shows me news articles. The PHLF has gone public, painting Nathaniel as a tyrant controlling human lives through economic coercion. Robert Chen gave an interview claiming blood servants are modern slaves trapped by debt. Protests are planned outside vampire-owned businesses. They're using your attack as propaganda, Nathaniel explains, claiming I retaliated violently, that I'm holding you prisoner now. The supernatural community is pressuring me to back down, worried about exposure. What do they want you to do? Release you? Publicly, prove I'm not controlling you. His eyes meet mine. I'm offering you a choice, Cassidy. I'll pay Tyler's medical expenses in perpetuity. That's non-negotiable, regardless of what you decide. But you can leave my employment now with my blessing and financial security. Or you can stay, understanding that remaining under my roof makes you a target. The PHLF will paint you as brainwashed. Other humans will call you a traitor. And anyone wanting to hurt me will see you as leverage. You're asking me to choose between safety and staying with you. I'm asking you to choose freely. Not because of debt, not because of obligation, because you want to. I think about 3 years of invisibility, about medical debt that defined my existence, about walking home alone through rain, always alone. Then I think about Nathaniel's hands, gentle on my injuries, his rage on my behalf, the way he looked at me when he asked who did this, like I mattered, like I'd always mattered. I'm staying. His expression transforms, relief and something deeper, more dangerous. You're certain? I've never been more certain of anything. Nathaniel's control finally cracks. He cups my face with both hands, thumbs tracing my healing bruises with infinite care. You were never just a transaction to me, he breathes. I've watched you for 3 years. Your strength, your dedication to Tyler, the way you organize books by publication date without being asked. I convinced myself distance was appropriate, that wanting you was inappropriate given our arrangement. And now? Now I'm done pretending I don't care. He leans forward, forehead touching mine. Tell me to stop. Tell me this is inappropriate and I'll step back. I'll be your employer, nothing more. Instead of answering, I close the distance between us and kiss him. The kiss changes everything and nothing. Nathaniel pulls back first, silver eyes searching my face like he's trying to memorize every detail. This complicates matters, he says, voice rough in a way I've never heard. I know. The PHLF will use this. Call it Stockholm Syndrome. Proof that I've manipulated you. Let them. I touch his jaw, feel the tension there. I'm choosing this, choosing you, with full awareness of what it means. Over the next week, we navigate our new reality. By day, I'm his assistant, managing correspondence, organizing his meetings with supernatural delegations. By night, he teaches me about his world. 500 years of history compressed into stolen hours. He tells me about Naples in 1523, about crossing the Atlantic in 1847, about building his territory through careful negotiation rather than bloodshed. I've spent centuries compromising for peace, he admits one evening, both of us on his study floor surrounded by ancient texts. Sacrificing personal desires to maintain stability. It's exhausting. You don't have to sacrifice anymore. Don't I? He traces the scar on my temple where Derek's ring split skin. Being with me puts you in more danger than you understand. Before I can respond, Marcus bursts in without knocking. We have a problem. Robert Chen's called a major demonstration. Tomorrow at dawn, outside this building. He's got permits, media coverage, and according to our sources, some of his people are armed with anti-vampire weapons. Nathaniel goes very still. How many? Estimates say 500 protesters, maybe more. And the Supernatural Council's position? Marcus's expression turns grim. They held an emergency session tonight. The vote was 9-3. They're asking you to defuse the situation. By doing what? Giving up Cassidy, temporarily, send her away until tensions cool, prove you're not holding her against her will. The silence that follows is absolute. I watch Nathaniel's hands curl into fists, watch something ancient and terrible wake behind his eyes. No, Nathaniel, I've spent 5 centuries compromising for peace, sacrificing personal happiness for political stability, bending to council demands to avoid conflict. He stands, and the temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees. Not this time, not her. They could pull their support, Marcus warns. Leave you isolated if this escalates. Then I'll handle it alone. Nathaniel looks at me, expression raw. I won't sacrifice you to appease cowards who prioritize comfort over what's right. After Marcus leaves, Nathaniel updates his will, ensures Tyler's treatments continue regardless of what happens tomorrow. He tells me everything about vampire succession law, the enemies who might move against him, the dangers I'll face as his acknowledged partner. You deserve truth, he says quietly, not protection through ignorance. But I refuse to be passive. While Nathaniel coordinates security, I reach out to other blood servants through the coffee shop network. Discover many share my struggles: medical debts, student loans, family obligations. We draft a statement together. 11 servants willing to go public about why we work for supernatural beings. We're not victims, Sarah from the Seattle Territory writes. We're survivors making impossible choices in an impossible economy. When I show Nathaniel our statement, something shifts in his expression. Pride, maybe, or hope. Tomorrow, he says, pulling me close despite my healing ribs, we show them the truth. Together. Through the window, I watch the city lights flicker. Somewhere out there, Robert Chen prepares his weapons and rhetoric. The media sharpens their narrative. The world waits to see if a vampire king will choose power over love. But standing in Nathaniel's arms, his heartbeat slow and steady beneath my ear, I know what he'll choose. What we'll both choose. Each other. Consequences be damned, dawn breaks over Portland with the kind of crystalline clarity that feels like a reckoning. I stand beside Nathaniel on his private balcony, watching hundreds gather below. PHLF banners, news vans, protesters chanting slogans about freedom and slavery. Robert Chen's voice booms through megaphones, painting vampires as parasites and blood servants as victims too brainwashed to understand their exploitation. You don't have to do this, Nathaniel says quietly. He's wearing protective enchantments Sophia wove, charms that let him stand in early sunlight without burning. But I see the strain it costs him, the way his jaw tightens against discomfort. I can handle this alone. We're handling it together. I squeeze his hand. That's the whole point. Marcus gives the signal. We descend to street level, emerging from the building's main entrance. The crowd's chanting falters when they see us. A vampire king standing in dawn light, holding hands with his supposedly captive servant. Robert Chen's expression darkens. He shoves his way to the front, microphone in hand. There she is, the proof of vampire manipulation. Look at her, Stockholm Syndrome personified, defending her captor. Before Nathaniel can respond, I step forward. My voice shakes at first but grows stronger. My name is Cassidy Moore. I'm 23 years old. I graduated summa cum laude from Portland State, and I work for Nathaniel Cross by choice. Choice? Robert spits. What choice do you have when vampires control the economy? The economy failed me long before I met Nathaniel. I pull out the statement, hands trembling but determined. My brother has leukemia. His treatments cost $87,000 annually. I had $200,000 in combined medical debt and student loans. I worked 3 jobs and still couldn't make rent. Nathaniel didn't create that desperation. Our healthcare system did. Our education system did. He just offered me a way to survive it. Sarah steps forward from the crowd. Another servant I'd contacted. Then Michael. Then Diane. 11 of us total, forming a line beside me. I work for the Seattle Coven to pay for my daughter's autism therapy, Sarah says. Insurance won't cover it. I donate blood to keep my grandmother in assisted living, Michael adds. Social Security isn't enough. One by one, we share our stories. Not tales of victimization, but of survival, of impossible choices in an economy designed to break us. The crowd's energy shifts. Uncertainty ripples through protesters. Several lower their signs. Then Nathaniel speaks, his voice carrying preternatural authority. You want to paint me as a tyrant? Very well. Watch me wield that power. He produces documents Marcus prepared. Effective immediately, I'm implementing the Portland Servant Protection Act across the entire Pacific Northwest. Regulated contracts, guaranteed health care, legal protections, minimum compensation standards. Every supernatural leader in my territory will adopt these terms or face consequences. You think regulations change anything? Robert shouts. You're still parasites feeding on human desperation. Then let's discuss parasites. Nathaniel's tone drops to something lethal. Marcus, show them. Marcus projects financial records onto the building's exterior wall. Robert Chen's tax returns. PHLF expenditures. Your organization collected $2.3 million in donations last year, Marcus announces, claiming to help struggling humans. Yet only $180,000 went to actual assistance. The rest paid your salary, your son's college tuition, your vacation home in Bend. Robert's face drains of color. Those are private. You weaponized people's suffering for profit while calling me the monster. Nathaniel's contempt is palpable. You sent your son to beat a woman half to death, not because you cared about her welfare, but because you needed a catalyst to justify violence. The crowd turns hostile, toward Robert now. Several protesters rip off their PHLF badges. That's when Robert pulls the weapon. A UV grenade, military grade, capable of burning Nathaniel to ash in seconds. The crowd screams. People scatter. Nathaniel moves with supernatural speed, not toward safety, but toward me. He shoves me behind him as Robert's finger twitches toward the pin. But Jacob is faster. The werewolf appears from nowhere, tackling Robert before the grenade activates. Portland PD, tipped off by Sophia an hour ago, swarms in, weapons drawn. Robert Chen, you're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon, conspiracy to commit murder, and fraud. As they drag Robert away, still screaming about monsters, Derek Chen pushes through the crowd. He looks at me, really looks at me, and I see something broken in his expression. I'm sorry, he says, voice cracking. I'm sorry for what I did, what my father made me believe. You deserved better. I don't forgive him. Can't, maybe ever. But I nod acknowledgement. 6 months later. The Servant Relations Office occupies the second floor of Nathaniel's building. I manage it now, ensuring fair treatment, investigating complaints, connecting servants with resources. Tyler's in remission, attending high school, drawing portraits of his favorite nurses that now hang in Providence Portland's oncology wing. I live in Nathaniel's penthouse, not as a servant but as his partner. The supernatural world whispers about the king who chose love over isolation, who rewrote centuries of tradition because one human woman refused to stay invisible. Tonight is feeding night, Tuesday at 9 p.m. like always. But now, after Nathaniel drinks from my wrist with reverent care, he pulls me close and whispers Italian endearments against my skin. Tells me I'm his miracle, his redemption, the thing that made 500 years of loneliness worthwhile. We stand on the balcony as the city lights flicker to life below. Portland sprawls beneath us, messy, complicated, full of people making impossible choices to survive. But it's also full of hope now, protection, rules that prioritize humanity over profit. Ready to face the day? Nathaniel asks, his arms around me, both of us wrapped in the kind of peace that comes from choosing each other daily. I lean into him, feel his heartbeat, slow, steady, eternal. With you? Always. The invisible woman found her king, and together we rewrote the rules of both our worlds.